G'day guys, we are back with another interview here at the Adelaide Showgrounds, and today I have grabbed Shaun Noble, the main man of Goldstream RV. I hope Russ and Steve doesn't mind me saying that, mate, but Shaunie.
G'day mate, how are you?
Welcome to Adelaide, mate.
Good to see you again.
It is absolutely fantastic to have Shaun here representing the Goldstream product, and today, mate, I just thought we would have a, just a general chat. I thought we'd take a bit of a trip down memory lane, and for all the followers out there that have been watching along, and for all our Goldstream fans to obviously put a face to the Goldstream name, and then find out a little bit about the history of Goldstream RV for 33 years
31
now?
and counting.
31 and counting.
31 and counting.
So what did Goldstream look like 30? So I'm only 30, what am I? 34 years. So I was probably running around in nappies when Goldstream RV was kicking off down in Pakenham.
Well, I do call you the kid.
The kid?
Yeah.
So let's go back 30 years. What did it look like?
So obviously we started out of a couple of partners from out of Jayco. Well, we're not partners, so Steve and Brian were at Jayco, and they decided, why can't we do it? So Steve's family had a property at Officer, which is about 10 kilometres out of Pakenham, and it was an old poultry farm.
Get out.
Okay, so that's where it all started. So commonly from anything that was built from 1993 to 2000, if you get someone come up and say, hey, what's this 1995 Goldstream worth? And that's called the chook shed model.
Wow, there you go.
So from 93 onwards, we outgrew the premises. I come out of the marine industry, so already in the leisure industry. So started off in sales and then obviously got involved in the factories.
You're a boat builder by trade, is that right?
Boat mechanic.
Boat mechanic by trade.
So outboard motors.
Yep.
So left school a long time ago, 15 and 10 months. Did an apprenticeship.
Yep.
And
didn't like school?
School and I didn't get on.
Didn't get on?
No, I loved it for the social side of it. But not for the academics. So I was out of school at 15, done an apprenticeship. At 19 and a half I was finished, a few more years in the Marine, and then the Marine, you won't remember this, but in 1989 there was the recession that we had to have from Mr. Keating.
Right.
So the first thing to go was obviously leisure.
Yep.
So the boat market was affected heavily.
Yep.
So we diversified into the RV. So the RV had been through some challenges in the 80s.
Yep.
The bigger companies that had gone bust, and so it could only go up.
So who were those bigger companies back then in the 80s? So it would have been like your Viscounts, your
Viscounts and your
original
Franklins,
ones.
and then you had Jayco obviously evolving, and I think it got down to like 3,500 from a peak around in the early 70s of about 37.5.
Wow.
It was down, and
significant.
I think when we got involved it was about 5,000, and from that time on through the early 90s into the late 90s it was just growth.
Yep.
So it was probably a very good time to get into it.
Yep. So the chook shed, I've learned something new. I never knew we started in the chook shed. And what year did we move into the current facility at?
2000. 2000 we, due to council regulations and some bureaucrats, we had to move. So we made the move to from Officer to Pakenham on a small scale, and progressed from there. And we were traditionally known in the industry for building the wind-up camper.
Yep.
So from steady growth from the late 90s into the early 2000s, and it was very steady growth, probably at 10% a year. So we just went through a natural growth, and we kept expanding, and until we got to say about 2007, and there was another hit called the GFC. So the GFC hit, and for about 5 minutes, which was about 1 month, the phones didn't work, and we thought this is the end of the world. But we hung in there, and we went to a show called Leisure Fest, and everyone said, what are you doing with all these vans? You can't sell them, no one's buying them. And I said, well, we won't die wondering. Nice. So we come out of that show with lots of work, and away we went. And from there, it's been just another steady growth. So from obviously a construction perspective, what have you seen obviously evolve? We see the new technologies now with the battery management system and the solar panels and the lithium batteries, and I guess the independent suspensions. I would only assume, the vans of the 90s and early 2000s
you know, that just wasn't a thing. You know, what have you seen that, you know, through that development?
Yeah, I mean, like, so, you know, when we started, you know, we had to be different, you know, because there was, you know, other companies that we had to come up against, which obviously had, you know, their buying power, and they were bigger, so they were cheaper. So we had to diversify. So we went and dare to be different. So there was an evolution of a trailing arm leaf spring suspension.
Right.
So, you know, you could go to a caravan show and say, we have independent suspension. And that was unique back then. And then we kept trying things like, we virtually were the evolution of a picnic table.
Wow.
That was designed by Goldstream, unless someone can prove different, and a roll-out stove.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, and it was done in what we call our storm, and it came out through the side, so the picnic table was the lid to the side boot, and down the other end, near the back of it, was the roll-out 2-burner Tudor stove.
Oh, how good. How good. And that was in your Thunder range?
That was in the Storm.
In the Storm,
yeah,
right.
So the Storm was the original, what we used to call the hamburger with a lot, because it was the biggest, it was bigger than any camper on the market, and the unique features was that it had a roll-out stove and a picnic table, which was just
unheard of.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
Outside cooking.
Yeah.
So
now, I guess we fast forward now, you know, you've gone through the GFC, and then, you know, there's been some ups and downs through those years. Again, you've rode all the waves, you know, over the past 30 years, and we enter COVID-19 in Pakenham, Victoria, the hardest lockdown state. How did you get through that?
Look, you know, it happened very quickly, and you know, we were all, you know, stunned, so to speak. And my motto was, we will, you know, the world will get going again. Yeah. So we were told to go home and sit on the couch, basically. So we had lots of time to think. So engaging with our dealers in the state, yourself and our dealers around Australia, so to make sure that we were on ball and in sync with what was going on, because the world was going to get going again. There was no doubt about it. We didn't know when, but when it did get going, at least we were ready to go. So positive. And
how many through that time? How many employees did you have? Obviously, you're, you know, the face of the company. You know, you're the leader inside of the company. You're the one that they all look to, you know, for advice and guidance. And what do I do now? I can only assume, you know, as the leader of the pack down there at Goldstream RV, you know, you would have had to navigate a few challenging conversations with, you know, some really uncertain people at that time.
Yeah, like I can remember, you know, it happened very quickly. So when we were told, you know, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to go home and we're going to, sorry, it was 2 weeks' time, we're going to go and sit at home for 2 weeks. And then they put another 6 weeks on it. So in engaging with the staff was to let them know that, look, we need to go home, we need to do what the government is saying. We've got the greatest country in the world. And if we go home and do the right thing, we will then get back to normality quicker. So that was the message that I sent. And basically, in the event that you're struggling at home, pick up the phone. And, you know, we had JobKeeper, so for they had an income, and, you know, I look back and go, what a great country.
No, we definitely navigated that better than most around the world. But I'd like to kind of take the conversation down the journey now from a leadership perspective and a leading of people perspective. And obviously, COVID-19 would have, you know, for any caravan manufacturer, any business or any community, for that fact, really kind of challenge, I guess, the leaders and the followers and those that people really look to. And, you know, what's your experience with that? 75, 80 employees down there now?
Yeah.
That's a big business.
Yes, it is. And we pride ourselves on, you know, we've probably got 50 plus families in our business, and I've got a lot.
When you say that, what do you mean, 50 plus families?
So Goldstream RV is a little family, so, you know, we're out of the CDB by about 75 kilometres. So it's like a country town. So a lot of my people have been with us for, you know, 10 plus years. Wow. So we have a very core group.
Nice.
So to reassure them that, you know, it will be okay. You know, the world will get going again, and send out those vibes, and because that's what they wanted to hear. I said, I don't know when, but we will get going again. So we have to we have to do the right thing, go home, do the right thing by the government, and then when we're told that we can come back to work, we come back to work, and it'll be business as usual.
And I think business as usual is an understatement, because when you come back to work, the order bank was full. We had lots of interstate dealers, selling vans left, right and centre. We had the borders closed on Australia, and it was one of the greatest opportunities for the caravan industry to really promote itself to the amazing places that we have around this country, and to get into a caravan, actually get out and start travelling. It put such a spotlight on it. What was that like? Obviously, we get back to work and all of a sudden the order bank's full. We've got lots of pop tops, lots of campers, lots of caravans to build and get them out on the road. It would have been a bit of a slap in the face after sitting on the couch for a couple of months, I'd assume.
Yeah, look, at the start it was quite challenging because the problem that we had was supply.
Componentry.
Okay, so componentry, obviously a lot of it coming from overseas, but what we did is we engaged with our suppliers.
Yep.
And my motto was, how can I help you to help me?
Nice.
So we having a lot of experience and we build relationships, and relationships build trust.
Yeah.
So by saying, hey, listen, just keep me in the loop.
Yeah.
And we went through, you would build a van and it might sit in the yard for 3 or 4 weeks or a month without a fridge. But,
yeah, right.
we just had to be patient.
Yeah.
Because eventually they were going to come. We just didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and working closely with suppliers and working closely with customers and your dealers to say, well, look, we know you've ordered it for June, but unfortunately we don't have a fridge, so we'll keep you in the loop. And as soon as that we get the componentry, we'll get the caravan to you.
Yeah, nice. Shaun Noble, what do you love most about the caravan industry? You said to me over dinner during this show that you're in debt to the caravan industry. You owe it a lot. When you say that, what do you mean?
Well, starting as a kid, like you are, and going back to, I was just a kid from Bomb Beach who worked on boats, got involved in the caravan industry, and over the 30 years I've met some wonderful people and I've got lifelong friends. Being a caravaner myself with, I have 2 beautiful kids, which are now growing up, but the last
and moving into the business, I heard.
Moving into the business.
Yes.
My son has come into it. It wasn't really planned. I really wanted him to go out and explore the real world, but really COVID helped that because with what happened in schooling and we just decided that between us and the teachers that the best thing for my son was to get out of school. So I said, well, come to work with Dad. Wait until you get your licence. He'd done some work experience with some builders and some electricians, so he was sort of up in the air with what he wanted to do, and I said, get your wheels, so your licence, and then you can make some decisions. And then he come to me and he said, I think I want to be a plumber. Can I be a plumber in the business?
Wow.
So I sort of had to think about it and thought, why not?
Yeah.
So
proud that moment.
And he's loving it, so what a great story again.
We go back, obviously, 30 years for yourself and young Harry's, what is he now, 18?
18.
Just gone 18. He was either going to be a caravan builder, a plumber at Goldstream RV, or a halfback at Collingwood Football Club. He was going to be one or the other.
We hope so.
We hope
so.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. But he is hoping that in 30 years' time, mate, he's taken it and completely revolutionised Goldstream RV and, taken new, young, fresh ideas and brought them into the business and just, give it another spark to kick it along another 30 years, mate. It's so exciting that, you've got the family there coming through as well. But mate, what's on the horizon? What's 2024, 2025? What does that look like at Goldstream RV? Obviously we know all the Goldstream owners out there that are watching this, chances are you've had 2, 3, 4, some even 5 Goldstreams. Basically we have a little motto: once they buy a Goldie, they will never buy anything else. They get into the Goldie family and then they'll upgrade through the Goldie family. What can they expect next out of Goldstream RV?
Well, it's funny you say that because there was, through the pandemic, and basically I've moved away from the frontline sales, but you see names.
Yes.
So a name came up and it was the Donaldsons.
Right.
Now the Donaldsons have just purchased probably their last Goldie, which was number 5.
Wow.
So when the Donaldsons come to do their colours, I just happened to want to say hello.
Nice.
So I went over to say hello, and here's the Donaldsons with their daughter and their granddaughter. So I looked at the daughter and said, I remember you when you were as young as your daughter. So I thought that is a pat on the back for the company, because as we pride ourselves on delivering the best we can and service. You know, and we're not always, we all make mistakes, but it's something that we pride ourselves on. With you get the person who's bought the 2, the 3, the 4, and we always say when you buy a Goldie, you're coming into the family.
Nice.
So that's what we pride ourselves on. So we pride ourselves on, we're the last pioneers in manufacturing here in Australia. You know, we've lost a lot of manufacturing, the cars and other furniture. And so for us to be able to employ Australians, building an Australian product for the Australian market, it's fantastic.
It is special.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know, it means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And we pride ourselves on going for the next 30 years and more.
Fantastic. Well, there we have it, guys. All the Goldstream fans. Hopefully the Donaldsons are out there one day watching this video. Thank you very much for your support for Goldstream RV, to not only your family, but also your extended family, the entire Goldstream family. I think that's been the message of this entire chat today with Shaun Noble from Goldstream RV, is that Goldstream is just one big family. So guys, if you are in the market for a quality Australian-built camper trailer, pop top, or now caravan, make sure you put Goldstream RV on your list, and one of the absolute gentlemen of the industry and someone that has done so much, Shaun Noble. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy day to chat to us today here at Adelaide RV.
Thanks, Jeb. Great to see you.
Thanks, mate.